New Coke. New Coke. You know, hello everyone, I am Mecha Random 42, your favorite YouTube harpy. Normally, I don't really talk a lot about Stranger Things, because it's not my favorite show. Season 1 was fine, it was decent. Season 2 really kind of... It took me a while to finish it, just because it didn't grab me. There's nothing wrong with it, it just wasn't nearly as strong, in my opinion. New Coke! I remember New Coke. Yes, I'm an old person. I remember New Coke. It wasn't that good. It wasn't that good. It wasn't that bad. It wasn't that good, though. Thing about New Coke, they won taste tests. Now, they won taste tests. You know what? Why am I talking about it if I don't watch Stranger Things that much and don't talk about it on my channel? I know, 80s nostalgia. I understand, especially fast food, McDonald's, commercials, advertising. I know 80s. I know the worst part of 80s, which is probably one of the most fun part of the 80s, which was the junk food, you know, the disgusting fast food, the New Coke, right? McDonald's commercials aimed towards children because, you know, Oreo cookie commercials and jingle. I remember Bill Cosby advertising New Coke, and that was the thing. New Coke didn't taste that bad, but what do people want? They want classic Coke. They want the taste they grew up on. This is why when you go to a McDonald's, you'll have a favorite McDonald's based on who has the old French fry oil, who has that old familiar smell, right? You go to these places, and you want the same sort of memory, especially the sense of smell, the sense of taste, the food. That stuff sticks. I guarantee you there's going to be some food item that you can just still taste that they don't make anymore. For me, that's the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle pies. I can still taste that, and I can still taste the old Taco Bell. Remember before they changed Taco Bell meat? I can taste the old 80s Taco Bell food and that formula. I can taste the old salads that McDonald's used to make. I remember New Coke. It wasn't that bad, but guess what? It was not nearly as good as RC Cola or Jolt. You know, Coke and Pepsi were like the name brands, right? They were the big dogs. But sometimes the little bit, like the more obscure thing might taste a little better. I don't know. I'm not entirely sold on them bringing back New Coke. I might buy a case of it though, just because nostalgia. Like it wasn't that good in the first place, and that's why they got rid of it, but now New Coke is nostalgia, so I can totally see why they're doing this. Absolutely, especially since it takes place during the time New Coke, the TV show Stranger Things, takes place during the time that New Coke was released. What was this, 85? And Stranger Things is like, what, 84? I remember them, the Ghostbusters suits from 84. Alright, yes. The upcoming third season of Netflix series Stranger Things takes place in 1985. Yes, it does. Alright. And the show's creators, the Duffer Brothers, included the infamous New Coke. I don't know how to feel about this. Like, at the one hand, we don't need New Coke, but on the other hand, I get it. It's nostalgia now. It is totally nostalgia. And nostalgia is huge. Look at what I grew up with in the 80s with Back to the Future, which took place in the 50s. We had Happy Days. Everything was the 1950s in the 80s, and now everything is the 80s today. Because nostalgia really, really matters. And that kind of makes me look forward to the next decade, because remember what happened after the 1950s? Well, we had the 1960s. And anybody who knows me knows I'm a huge fan of everything that happened in the 1960s. Huge music, everything. Next decade, man, we're gonna get a new revolution. God, I hope so. Because look at what happens every time you just have crazy people. You have the insane, crazy culture. Look at the 1950s. Kids were getting, like, legit. Kids were getting. This is really off topic. They were getting, they were getting disciplined from their parents from going to listen to music by people of color back then, quote unquote, right in the 1950s. So look at what's happening today. Look at what's happening today with all the crazy stuff going on in pop culture and entertainment, right? You have people who just flip their lid over everything, over absolutely everything you do or say and think. And God, it's gonna be nice in 10 years when people are like, oh my God, just lighten up, chill, right? That's gonna be nice. But I have to like rant about this New Coke thing. Oh, Lord, eyeing a potential brand partnership opportunity. Netflix reached out to Coca-Cola to see if it may want to revisit what's widely considered its greatest failure. And in uncharacteristic fashion for a giant heritage brand, Coca-Cola marketing execs ended up embracing the idea enthusiastically. Here's the thing, though. Look at how well Ecto Coolers sold when Ghostbusters 2016 came back. That did better than the movie. I bought a case of Ecto Cooler, and if I hadn't have moved halfway across the country, I would still have it in my pantry because it's nostalgia, isn't it? It's nostalgia. This is why I bought Crystal Pepsi when it came back. Even though Crystal Pepsi was actually good, it was better than New Coke, I think. It was better than New Coke, but... They brought us into the third season in a fairly meaningful way, so they brought us the idea. And you can imagine it wasn't the idea that we were maybe expecting to hear, says Senior Vice President of Strategic Marketing, Jeff Contrail. There was a moment when anybody who's been on this project or sort of said, oh, wow, are we really going to think about doing this? Oh, and they did. Starting today, May 23rd, so this is a couple of days, yesterday, Coca-Cola will release a limited number of 12-ounce cans of New Coke with the original 1985 formula as part of a bundle through its site, cokestore.com/1985. Free cans of New Coke will also be available for limited time via an upside-down inspired vending machine in select cities. Of course, starting in New York and moving to other locations. The Duffer Brothers also directed the New Coke ad that will be playing in cinemas across the country. Well, here's the New Coke ad. Should we play it? Should we play it or read it copywritten? We'll play. It's in the article. It's in the article, right? Oh, I do kind of miss the 80s commercials. Oh, it's the Stranger Things stuff. My God, this is like an 80s commercial. Okay, sorry. I had to pause it. I have to pause it because of the music, because of talking over it and stuff. It is very much like an 80s commercial. I think I like this ad better than the show. Yeah, I think I like the ad better than the show. I don't dislike the show though. I mean, it's not my favorite show. It's not my favorite show. It's not the best show on TV. I'll give it that. I like the ad more. That's so much. That is so much like a Coke ad from the 80s. Oh, Lord. Stranger Things has also been pretty meticulous about its period details, and Coca-Cola had provided the show with signage, packaging, and other branded bits in the show's previous 2 seasons. This is decidedly more elaborate. All right, you're convincing me. I think it's a good business decision just to do some limited edition stuff. It's good for advertising. It's not going to hurt anything. But seriously, New Coke, we didn't need it the first time around, so at least they're not like completely replacing it. There is that little theory about New Coke is actually what we're drinking now in Coca-Cola, quote unquote classic. I just buy the Mexican stuff. You see it in like the grocery stores somewhere sometimes, depending on the store. Just get the glass bottles. It has the real sugar. It'll say made in Mexico. Get that stuff. It's so much better. They also have Fanta with the real sugar in it. Fanta orange. That's good stuff. When I drink soda with sugar, I drink those two sometimes, but man, I don't know. This I don't have that much of a problem with this now that I'm reading it. I was in a bad mood when I started the video. I can flip-flop. It's not that big of a deal. We had the conversation about recreating New Coke in the limited run, and I think every single person, when they were brought the idea, kind of scratched their head, says Cottrell. Given the product's frosty reception 34 years ago, I remember the commercials. They're like, they changed my Coke. Oh, I remember that. I remember Pepsi kind of coming in the opportunity of like, hey, we didn't change. Hey, remember us? We didn't change. And of course, that was the 80s, though. Jolt was so much better. Don't let your little kids drink Jolt Cola. You'd turn into crazy red-haired harpies on the internet. Seriously, though, Jolt was so much better. Bring back Jolt Cola. Can we get a push to bring out Jolt Cola? That was the best. Netflix brought us a really big idea. And we looked at ourselves in the mirror and said, there's no way we can say no. You got to do that. Yeah, okay. You convinced me. This might not be the worst thing ever. And it's just going to be limited edition, right? The move also embodies what Cottrell calls the cultural change happening within Coca-Cola in recent years, with CEO James Quincy and his leadership team really encouraging its marketers to try new things, make mistakes too, but to push forward. Well, just replace all Coca-Cola with the Mexican Coke. I am serious. That stuff actually tastes good. Get rid of the corn syrup. Oh my God, get rid of the corn syrup and soda. Get rid of the corn syrup. This is why I only drink diet, because I don't want the corn syrup. I'd rather have aspartame and chemicals than corn syrup like that. that. Because I think my brain knows what to do with chemicals more because I grew up on it. I grew up on NutraSweet, though. They don't have NutraSweet in there anymore. A year ago, Quincy challenged them to figure out how the brand could find its way into non-advertising platforms like Netflix in unobtrusive but creative ways. Control and his team have been talking to Netflix about potential opportunities in the past couple of years. Well, this is called product placement. We learned about this from Return of the Killer Tomatoes, where they stick like a name brand product as advertising, because you'll see it. You'll see it because they'll have like the label facing the camera. Ghostbusters 2016 was full of this too. You'll have the thing facing the camera, and that company has to pay you money to basically, you're promoting their thing. So this is why some movies you'll see like a Pizza Hut pizza box, or God, Demolition Man Taco Bell. You know, it's an ingenious way to do things. At the same time, it's a little bit sneaky and shady. And seriously, some of these marketing people, I would thrive in marketing for the kind of brain that I have, but man, I don't know. Maybe I might just be evil enough to be a marketing person. I don't know. But no, I think this is a smart move for Coca-Cola, because we're talking. What is it doing? We're talking about Coca-Cola. That's the smart move. Still, New Coke isn't very good. It really wasn't, from what I remember. I don't know. Oh, but the right one just hadn't presented itself. We were pretty clear that unless we could find a way to integrate organically and authentically and add some level of value to the experience, then we weren't going to just jump in. It just so happened the right opportunity popped up in Hawkins, Indiana. Wooch! Took about 10 months to pull together. Cottrell says the partnership is quid pro quo and not a paid integration to the show, just a natural extension of how the brand was being portrayed anyway. All right. So they're not paying them. They're just kind of saying, "Hey, yeah, you can put it." You know, that was one of the things that like movie studios and video game studios would do. You know, they would be like, "Hey, yeah, especially for video games. Here, take a review copy of my game, do a let's play of it for, like the gaming YouTube channels that I never got to that level of when I was a gaming channel." And they would, the free promotional copy that some of the YouTubers would get would be enough to kind of advertise stuff. Like legit, that's how that works. You give here's a free DVD, and somebody will do a review of it, and that advertises the product. No skin off anyone's back. They're not even paying that much money for it. Probably they only paid whatever it was to print up those and to make the Coke that they're gonna sell. And I'm probably gonna have to buy a case of it. Yeah, pretty ingenious marketing there. I mean, it's something we don't need or want because New Coke wasn't that good, but I can see it. I miss the 80s. I do miss the 80s. Took about 10 months to put together. Control says the partnership is quid pro quo, blah, blah, blah. We already read that. And Netflix gets to shows Coke packaging in grocery stores all over the country. Ultimately, the concern over celebrating an infamous mistake was overpowered by the idea of embracing its place in culture. That is the thing. That was a huge deal in 80s pop culture, and for them to mention it at the right time and place, it does show a little bit of attention to detail. So I am okay with that. That is one thing I did like about Stranger Things. And like I said, I don't dislike the show. It was just not my favorite one. Season 1 was much better than season 2 in my opinion. But they got the 80s nostalgia right. They got the feel of like getting to ride your bike all across the neighborhood right. Kids don't get to do that anymore. You don't get to ride your bike halfway across town till all hours of the night. Your parents don't know where the hell you're at or whatever. And it was fun. Well, they kind of would have an idea. They'd be like, "Oh, you're either with this friend or this friend or this friend," and they kind of know your friends. They kind of know your friends' parents a little bit. And that was fine. That was how the 80s were. God, I miss the 80s. Do you guys miss the 80s? I do too. We wanted to find the right way to be there and do it in a fun way and not take ourselves too seriously, and also not take our place in the world for granted. See, that's fine. We've got to continue to push ourselves to do new and different things. We can't do the same marketing tactics over and over. We've got to evolve. So this is one of those chances. I think this is better. Full disclosure. This is better than the crap that they pull where they just want to subvert your expectations, like Game of Thrones, like Star Wars The Last Jedi, like any of these franchises. that get people so invested, and then they just do stupid shit just to get people talking about it. No, bringing back New Coke, now that I think about it, is probably a much better marketing tool than, God, 90% of the stuff we see with Star Wars, Star Trek, all these things. It makes sense to the franchise. Like, it wouldn't make any sense to have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle pies in there until, like, 1989. New Coke, absolutely one of those things from the mid-'80s, you know? I want to see McDonald's, like, the Fry Guy commercials and the Chicken McNugget kids and shit. There is a retro commercial station or channel on YouTube that I do love. It's called Dave's Archives. Go subscribe to that channel. All of your 80s needs, 80s and 90s, all the commercials, really well done. They most of them come off of beta. I do want to shout out that channel. If you do like the 80s nostalgia, like I like the 80s nostalgia. Thank you guys so much for watching. I am Mecha Random 42, PO Box 1566, Loveland, Colorado 80539. I think I'm going to buy some of that New Coke. See you guys on the next video. Live stream on Midnight's Edge After Dark on creepy little book talking paranormal and spooky stuff. And as always, see you later. Bye! Thanks for watching. If you liked it, make sure to hit that like button. And if you want to see more, don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next video. Bye!